Taiwan's Champions League just finished up with a lot of players have played. It's our Paldea evolved format, which means moving forward, this will be the cards we use. These are the sets we're going to be using. And Cora on Twitter, X simply TCGX, was able to compile a lot of the top 8 decks and resources, as well as information about the event. It was live streamed on YouTube. I believe other popular streamers like Azul GG and some other players were able to watch it, so you can go check those VODs out. You can see the top 8 here. We're going to break that down and look at some of the lists. But for full clarity, the tournament structure was a little bit interesting. Day 1 was 9 best-of-1 Swiss rounds, so everyone with a 7-2 and better record moved on to the next day. And then there were 4 best-of-3 Swiss rounds, and then there was a 33 match point top cut, and you could change decks in between days. So you could play Gardevoir on day 1 and switch to Champa in day 2. So I guess there's a lot of things that were a little bit different. So maybe these top 8 decks aren't necessarily indicative of the format itself, but I feel like a lot of players did not change decks from day to day, because if you go 7-2 or better with a certain deck, you're probably confident enough that it'll carry you. Top 24 players at this tournament were given a World Championship invite. So shout out to Cora for putting together all the information. She's awesome. You guys should check her Twitter out. She put a lot of effort in this, and let's jump into the top 8 decks. You can see that the top 8 bracket was put together as Gardevoir EX versus Lost Zone Box, Gardevoir EX versus Lost Zone Box, Gardevoir versus Gardevoir, one with Mewtwo, and then Champa versus Champa. Now, important to note immediately that in this current format, Lost Zone Box absolutely destroys Gardevoir. So we've had this notion that Gardevoir really can't compete with Lost Zone Box, but these players have come to this top cut position and proven themselves. We see 4 Gardevoir variants in the top 8, 2 Lost Zone Box variants, and I mean, you can see the purple lines vaguely in the bracket, showing that Gardevoir was able to beat Lost Zone Box both times, and it was an all Gardevoir finals. Qianpao did make top 8 as 3rd and 6th seed, which is something I'm very interested in. I did not really believe in Qianpao being a tier 1 deck, so I wanted to see how Champa Palkia, or the combination of the two, made its way into the top 8. So let's take a look at the champions list. The winner played Gardevoir. Looks very cut and dry, very stock standard staple. 4 copies of Iono, 2 research, 1 worker, 2 boss. Just very, let's get through my deck, let's get to my pieces. I have 3 copies of Rare Candy. I think that's 2 collapsed or 2 artisan. I can't tell which stadium that is, but there is 2 copies of reversal. I can see 2 of them right here. So there's 2 stadiums and then 2 reversals as well. So I think these are artisans. That would make the most sense, along with 10 energies. So the deck playing 2 reversals is a little bit interesting. I do think reversal is a very, very good card. Important to note, there's only 3 Curlias, which is very, very greedy, and I think this is 2 Chrysalias as well. So this, I guess he knew he was going into Lost Zone Box. I don't know, like, maybe he just anticipated his opponent was going to play Lost Zone Box heading into day 2, or like that there was a couple at the top. So this list feels a little bit greedy. I don't know if I'd play it, but I like the Luxray. I don't like the 3 Curlia. 2 Chrysalias seems greedy for sure. There's no seal stones of any nature, it feels like, in here. I would have at least 1 of the seal stones, forest or sky. Forest probably, just to put the Zacian down turn 1. Yeah. Next up, we have the finalist list with Mewtwo Union. This played the whole reversal package that we talked about, that there's a lot of merit for. There's the Gallade in here to answer some of those RCS decks. Both Gallades, actually. Mirage Step Curlia to set up your board. 2 Manaphy's to make sure you don't get popped by Lost Box easily. 2 Artisan, a Path to the Peak to deal with Vulpix decks, which is important because we're going to be talking about Thailand later on. And Thailand did have Arctura Vulpix make the finals, so important to check that out as well. 3 copies of Super Road, so heavy recovery, 3 Iono, 4 research. I mean, you could flip these counts around too, but you just want to get through your deck as quickly as possible, especially with Mewtwo Union. Maybe research is more beneficial. You need to have the Peonia. It's a very important card to play in a build like this where, well, you got a lot of one-offs. The 4 reversal is 6. This is, I think, the coolest deck to come out of this format. I want to try this deck heavily. In the top 4, we had Champa Palkia. The energy retrievals should be superiors. Cora did mention that was a mistake on her part. She went through the stream and picked up the list. So this is the 60 cards that she was able to gather from the stream. The user did not post it. Champa Palkia, basically just playing thin lines of everything to try to accommodate every possible scenario. Articuno, I think, loses a lot of value because Lugia is going to start playing not regenerative, but like therapeutic energy, I think it's called now, to deal with paralysis. But besides that, the deck is like very, very powerful. But the Bibarel line seems like a little bit much. Like, you have the Baxcalibur, the Bibarel, the Palkia, you have to set up so many pieces. The Baxcalibur gets set up by Irida, yeah. But then past that, it's like, okay, I have to just Iono into all my pieces. There's not even researches in this build. 3 Nest, 2 Nest, 3 Ultra. Like, it feels like a really greedy list. I don't know if Articuno is even good, but Skater's Park is a cool stadium. I like this card a lot. It preserves your energies when retreating. Palkia, Bibarel, and Baxcalibur all have really big retreat costs, so having our energy back is really important. Lost City. I don't know exactly what I want to get rid of immediately, but against Lost Zone boxes, I guess maybe they're bigger threats like Dragonite, because Dragonite is really hard to answer with this deck, I think. If a Dragonite comes up and pops a Qianpao, you don't have an amazing answer back into that. So I think Lost City, that's really cool. So interesting that Qianpao did make it to top 4. I'm not a big believer still, but we'll see. This is the other top 4 Gardevoir list. This one's a little more stock standard, cut and dry. You can see the 1 reversal, the 11 psychic, 4 candy. Okay, that's a little bit interesting. The crystals, the worker, more or less the 4 Iono, 1 research. Like, the stadium counts are going to be pretty similar across the board, or like everyone's going to pick their flavor of what they like in Gardevoir, which I think makes the deck so unique and really hard to play against in the future. So yeah. And then in top 8, we had 1 top 8 finisher showing that they finished 9-0 in day 1 with Single Strike Lugia, and then in day 2 they went 1-0-3 with Gardevoir EX in their remaining 4 rounds into top 8. So this was their day 1 Single Strike Lugia list, opting to play very heavy copies of Single Strike Pokemon in 2 T-Tar and 2 Stonjourner with 1 Yveltal as well. So playing a very heavy package of all of those, no Urshifu, nothing like that. We see 1 Impact Energy over here, so 5 energies of the colored variety, 2 DTE, 2 V-Guard, 3 Gift, 2 Jet, so Jet moves from the bench to the active, 1 Reversal, so you can pair that with the Luxray for Mirror. We're seeing the 2 Urn with the 2 Nest Ball, 2 Iono, 3 Boss, Burnett researches, you know, a very typical Lugia list. We see the Messagosas and the Collapsed. Lugia is Lugia. This deck go 9-0 in best of 1, so there's merit to it. So keep that in mind if you're a Lugia player in this current format. And then finally, this player pivoted into Gardevoir, but this list went 1-0-3 and immediately lost in top 8. So I don't know what that says about this deck. He didn't lose any games. He just tied them. I think, are these super scoop ups back here? Like, I can't tell. I think there's a super odds actually, but super odds, 2 super odds, 2 fog crystals. We have a Penny, an Avery. So a couple of weird supporter counts that maybe don't need to be here, but we do see the Penny, the Avery, the Collapse, the Sinnoh, a lot of Ball Search cards with 2 candies as well. Just setting up your board and saying, hey, I'm going to get the ball rolling. And once I'm set up, again, Gardevoir is Gardevoir. So once again, shout out to Quora for compiling the top 8 Taiwan list. I'm sure the full results will be on Limitless when they're up there. But if you guys are looking to get ahead and start preparing for Paldea Evolved, this is your best chance to look. Go watch the VODs for it. I think PokeStats and Quora both have them on their page. So check that out. I appreciate it a ton for you guys. And again, if you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I'll get you guys prepared for Columbus, Ohio, NAIC Worlds. It'll be a great time.